Shouts out to Jersey.
They turning hip-hop into fucking rap. We need more motherfuckers that spit that shit like this. Rant, go in.
There's not enough room for you and me to breathe. Exotic island paying man and couldn't beat the breeze. I bare arms like a nigga couldn't keep his sleeves. I couldn't blame Swiss knocking up Alicia Keys. Hot enough to keep the dream, cause I ain't giving in. The flow is rivet in the ghetto that we living in. You barely see a nigga win. Snakes in the grass trying to slither in, perpetrating niggas' friends. We bout to stand off, hands off. Niggas give me room like a landlord. I am just a damn boss. If you don't understand the words that I'm tossing out, your life's not a movie if you living what you talking about.
DJ Lust, DJ Diggs, you know what this is, man. Y'all know Rats in the heart for it, man.
Label me gangsta, I'm living what I'm talking about. If you give me one chance to get the spotlight, I'm only gon' rock the mic. And if I gotta show the world that I'm the hood's girl and not just some ghetto girl, then I'ma do it. Been through the struggle, but now I'm coming up in this game. Won't be the one to get got, stay hood, and that ain't gon' change. No, they don't do how I do. Every word on my mouth's the truth. Label me gangsta, I'm living what I'm talking about. No, they don't do what I do. Every word on my mouth's the truth. Label me gangsta, I'm living what I'm talking about. No, they don't do how I do. Every word on my mouth's the truth. Label me gangsta, I'm living what I'm talking about. No, they don't do what I do. Every word on my mouth's the truth. Label me gangsta, I'm living what I'm talking about.
At the same time, you had, at that moment, think of it, you had like 250,000 people in prison, majority of them white folks. Today you got 2.5 million. You got a Marshall Plan, y'all know what the Marshall Plan is. Massive amounts of money, billions of dollars spent, but it's a cultural Marshall Plan, it's a penal Marshall Plan. $300 billion has been spent for the new Jim Crow system for hyper-incarceration. Jail, prison, and the criminal justice system. The vast majority poor. 72% soft drugs. Brother Bob Herbert just did a piece in the Times echoing a recent statement. Young black folk take marijuana less so than white. Young black folk take marijuana less than young white people. Young black folk arrested and convicted 7 times more, 6.6 times more. That's the racist criminal justice system. That's double standards, that's differential treatment, that's intense enforcement on the chocolate side of town and very soft enforcement on the vanilla side of town. That's what we're talking about. During the same period, you got the emergence of Reaganism, which was the unleashing of forces. Greed is good. Profit at any cost. And more obsessed with the 11th commandment, thou shalt not get caught. Corruption, that's supposed to be the business page for the last 5 years. What do you see? Scandal after scandal after scandal, corruption after corruption, greed, avarice. I mean, that's gangster activity. It's just gangster on the top. That's all. That's all it is. How many go to jail? Okay, Brother MacDougall goes to jail. Wow, he's really gangsterizing, right? He did gangsterizing large numbers of Jewish brothers and sisters. Well-to-do Jewish brothers and sisters. If he starts gangsterizing with white and Jewish brothers and sisters, he's in deep trouble. Deep trouble. How so? Because it's either careful limelight. Now if you gangsterizing black poor, it's hard to cast a limelight on. Because you don't have as much institutional clout the suffering that you're undergoing. What happened was that the response to the 1960s was to discourage poor people, and especially poor black and brown people, to struggle, to create opportunities for the top slice, to produce highly successful ones who moved into the higher echelon. So we end up with a leadership that for the most part was milquetoast and spineless, conforming to the dominant forces of corporate greed and middle class indifference. And you know, for poor people's situation, hidden and concealed. That's what I mean by nobody talking about. That's what I mean by the politician. I know I may have upset people, motherfuckers, but I just got upset. Precisely because it's hard to find any set of leaders of any color who make poor people central. There's one brother, keep eye on tonight. His name is Russell Feingold, the Jewish brother in Wisconsin. He's losing at the moment. He's the only member of the Senate talking about poor people. The only one. He's like Paul Wellstone, the Jewish brother from Minnesota. He was one of the few. Rest of the senators colonized by American Banking Association. Almost controlled by it. That's what the senator from Chicago said. I'm not. He said, our institutions legalize bribery and normalize corruption. The senator said, I didn't say that. They're right, though, true. So that when we talk about the prison industrial complex, we're not just talking about the collapse of our neighborhoods and hoods, and our dilapidated housing, disgraceful school system, and depression-like levels of unemployment and underemployment. But we're also talking about the ways in which the attempt to ensure that poor people and working people never again raise their backs up and take a stand and organize and mobilize, and to keep in place sets of leaders who them or overlook them, act as if they do not exist. And right now we got a bipartisan consensus on the prison industrial system. You can have the worst budgetary deficit in the world, but you always find money. The politicians always find money for war. We were in a deep budgetary deficit when they declared war against Iraq. It cost $1 trillion. No problem. Afghanistan escalating $161 billion next year. That's Afghanistan. And we fighting over $4 billion for race to the top for education and hood. A little crumb. This education is a race and not a right. Little crumbs. And they always find money for prisoners. Jail. Criminal industrial complex. I mean the criminal justice system. Why? Because they understand that somehow you can keep this set of communities relatively deferential, silent, or walking around with their backs humped over rather than their backs straightened up. Then the corporate greed can go on. And that's where we stand right now. It is a very sad situation. It's a very sad situation. Martin Luther King Jr. is turning over in his grave. And Malcolm X is having another breakdown with the worm. We don't know, you know what Paul Robeson be doing.
Reverend Howard, it's been mentioned, as you mentioned, Dr. Weston has mentioned it, we can't talk about poverty and human rights without talking about schools and the education of our young people.
I'm about to answer the shit niggas ask me, so never again will you have to harass me. Sorta like a movie, you playing as me. Know how it feels to switch lanes in a fast B. Number one question, Rand, why you ain't on yet? Cause me and the right niggas ain't get along yet. I'm about to answer.